Welcome to the deep dive. So we've got this stack of recent articles, reports, mostly from CoinMarketCap contributors, and it's quite a mix.
Definitely. A real snapshot of what's being talked about right now.
Yeah, so we're going to be digging into, the market moves, what some experts are apparently forecasting, and just generally what it all might mean.
Exactly. These sources cover market analysis, some specific coin news, wider trends, all reported pretty recently. The market's always moving, right?
Yeah,
So our aim here is really to help you cut through some of that noise, zero in on the key bits of info, the maybe unexpected details, and the predictions these folks are making.
our mission basically is to get you up to speed quickly on the latest forecasts, the institutional stuff, the altcoin buzz that's in this material. Let's just jump in.
Sounds good.
Okay, starting with the big picture view. One headline from these sources really jumped out at me. Bitcoin experts forecast surprising price rises.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sets an optimistic tone straight away, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That headline, it captures a specific sentiment from one source, focusing on, expert predictions for where Bitcoin might be heading.
Right.
But it's not just price forecasts. These articles also touch on something, bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Is crypto really becoming, mainstream? Is it settling in?
And that's where it gets really interesting, I think. One source reported a pretty significant statement attributed to the U.S. Vice President,
Oh, yeah.
saying something like, crypto and digital assets, especially Bitcoin, have become part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay.
Wow. Okay.
Now, we need to be super clear here. We're just reporting what the source says was stated.
Right.
We're absolutely not taking a political side or saying we agree or disagree. Yeah. Our job is just to pass on the information that was in the material we reviewed.
Understood. And that's important context. What's kind of striking, though, is how that reported comment, from a government figure, seems to echo some actions we're seeing from corporations, also mentioned in the sources.
Like the Metaplanet example?
Exactly. One article goes into detail about Metaplanet issuing, $21 million in zero-interest bonds.
Yeah, specifically to buy Bitcoin, and Evo funds snap them all up.
Right. And the article makes the point that this isn't trivial. It actually significantly boosts Metaplanet's corporate Bitcoin stash.
So these signals, from reported government statements to actual corporate moves,
yeah,
why do they matter?
Well, they matter because they could suggest bigger structural shifts are happening.
More than just individual investors getting excited.
Yeah, it points towards governments and big companies maybe changing how they view and potentially use these assets. That can affect the market in a whole different way than just, trading sentiment. It's about adoption, really. Deeper adoption.
Okay, so that's the kind of macro view. But these sources also drill down quite a bit into specific coins, right?
Oh, definitely. Lots of detail on individual assets. For instance, one piece mentioned XRP. It talked about analysts cited in that article predicting massive gains.
Massive gains.
Yeah.
Always catches the eye.
Doesn't it? And that same article also flagged a surge in Binance whale activity.
Right, whale activity. Just quickly, for anyone less familiar, that usually means, really big holders making significant moves, buying or selling large amounts.
Exactly. So a surge can sometimes suggest, to market watchers anyway, that big shifts might be coming. Volatility, price changes, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. What else?
Another one discussed was Kaspa, K-A-S. One report went into the technicals. It noted that the Kaspa supply lockup nears 70%.
70%. That sounds pretty high. What did the source say that means?
Oh, according to that report, it suggests holders are steadily accumulating, not selling. And crucially, it points to reduced selling pressure.
Okay.
So the article basically links this technical thing, the limited supply actually available to trade, it links that to potentially positive signs for the KAS price, suggesting maybe it's driven by deeper fundamentals, not just hype.
Interesting. Deeper trends versus hype.
Mm-hmm. Then there was Ripple again, but this time about their stablecoin, RLUSD.
Ah, yes.
A source reported it's expanding, getting listed on the Euler Finance platform.
Euler Finance, that's in the DeFi space, right?
Yeah.
Lending and borrowing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the article stated the goal there is to diversify the options available for lending and borrowing on that platform.
So that's an example of actual integration.
Yeah.
A stablecoin being used in its specific application.
Precisely. It's a different kind of marker than just watching price charts. It's about utility in the DeFi ecosystem.
And speaking of performance comparisons, one source looked at SUI and SOL, noting they've been doing well, gaining some momentum.
Right, seeing some positive movement there.
But then it pivots pretty hard. It says, and this is a direct quote from the source, BlockDAG's explosive ROI potential outpaces them both.
Okay. Bold claim. Did they back that up with anything?
Well, yeah, that article included some specific numbers from BlockDAG's presale. Things like $10 remain presale growth in just 7 days,
10 million in a week, just from the presale.
apparently. And it mentioned an overall presale total reported at $273 million to date.
Wow, $273 million in a presale. Just for context, that's the stage before a coin usually hits the big exchanges.
Right. So according to that source, those are pretty significant numbers, suggesting a lot of early investor buzz and momentum, specifically around BlockDAG during that initial phase.
This definitely indicates strong early interest based on those reported figures.
Okay, so let's try and connect the dots here. We've got these Bitcoin forecasts, these signals of maybe broader acceptance.
Yeah, from government sources, corporate actions.
And then all this specific activity technical stuff with Kaspa, the XRP analyst views, the RLUSD integration, the BlockDAG presale numbers. What kind of overall picture does this paint?
I think it paints a picture of a market that's, well, complex. It's being pulled and pushed by a whole bunch of different things at once, according to these sources anyway.
It's not just one simple story.
Not at all. You've got the high-level expert guesses. You've got actual corporate strategy playing out with Metaplanet. You've got potential government perception shifts. And then right down in the trenches, you have supply and demand mechanics, like with Kaspa, specific platform adoption for things like RLUSD, and then this really noticeable pre-sale momentum reported for BlockDAG. It's a real mix.
It shows the complexity, doesn't it? These different sources give you different angles.
Exactly. From the really wide macro lens down to the nitty-gritty of one coin's tokenomics or another project's early funding success.
It highlights that there are multiple layers, multiple kinds of opportunities, and risks, too, that these contributors are pointing out.
Which really brings up a key question for you listening in. How do you actually weigh all this different information?
Right.
Is a reported expert forecast more important than a company buying Bitcoin with bonds? Does the Kaspa supply data mean more than the BlockDAG presale hype? How do you filter it?
Good question. So just to recap quickly, we've touched on the reported Bitcoin outlook, those signs of mainstream interest, both government and corporate angles mentioned in the sources, and then a whole range of altcoin specifics.
Yeah, the data points, the analyst takes, the platform news.
And pulling out those specific details we discussed, like the reported VP comment or Metaplanet's bond move or the Kaspa lockup numbers, it really shows why looking at a range of sources, like the ones we had, can help build a fuller picture of what's being talked about.
Absolutely, get different perspectives.
So putting it all together now, what does all this information make you think about as you process it?
Well, here's a thought to leave you with, kind of building on what these reports suggest, but looking a bit further out.
Okay.
Given this mix, we've seen this increasing institutional interest, the reported government attention, happening alongside all this rapid innovation and really varied performance among different crypto assets.
Yeah.
How might the actual fundamental nature of the crypto market itself start to change in the next few years? Or maybe how might some of its original ideals, like decentralization, be challenged by these trends that are hinted at in these reports?
That's definitely something to chew on. How does institutional involvement and maybe regulation square with the original crypto ethos?
Exactly. Food for thought based on where these sources suggest things might be heading.